Afghanistan. For decades, this name has been associated with war, chaos, and fear. But how much of what we believe comes from reality? And how much comes from repetition? Most people around the world have never been to Afghanistan. Their understanding comes almost entirely from the media. These images are powerful. Repeated, they become the whole story. They define a nation by its most violent moments. This one-dimensional view erases the complexity of daily existence for its people. A country is also the ordinary streets where people buy bread for their families, markets where goods are exchanged and stories are shared, schools where children learn. Afghanistan is not frozen in time. It is a living place, full of people with hopes, fears, and daily routines. The media is our main source of information about distant places. Television, newspapers, and online platforms act as the primary window through which the world gazes. This window can be exceptionally narrow. News organizations must choose what to show. They cannot broadcast everything. Stories that are dramatic and visually striking are chosen more frequently. When the same images are shown again and again, they begin to shape belief. The challenge is to see beyond the single repeating image. According to some reports, practical constraints, commercial pressures, and formulas drive selection. Brevity can make complex issues seem overly simple. The result emphasizes chaos over order and crisis over continuity. A single story solidifies into a stereotype. Context gets lost. Old images detach from their time and become symbols. Independent observations suggest audiences should cross-check, question framing, and seek local voices. Recognizing the frame helps us ask what lies outside it. In August 2021, the Taliban returned to power across Afghanistan. The world watched with great attention and widespread alarm. Many feared civil war, collapse of social order, and renewed international terrorism. Since then, human rights, particularly for women and girls, have been severely curtailed. There have been reports of arrests and punishments targeting former officials and activists. Loss and fear are a valid and central part of the story. However, other changes have also followed the takeover. Independent field observations suggest day-to-day security has improved in some areas, particularly major cities. Some residents report a decline in street crime such as robberies and kidnappings. A UN special representative noted improved daily security for millions. This improvement came at an enormous cost. Severe rights restrictions, dismantled institutions, and a deep economic crisis. An end to one form of conflict, replaced by authoritarian control. Fear of bombs may lessen for some, but fear of arbitrary arrest grows. And the despair of a daughter denied education persists. Afghanistan's economy has contracted by about 1/3 since 2021. Widespread unemployment and poverty affect around half the population. In 2025, over 22 million require assistance, including many lacking clean water and sanitation. For families facing hunger or disease, security is not abstract. To understand a place beyond headlines, we must listen to the people who live there. A shopkeeper describes long days and a struggle to make ends meet in a crippled economy. He also notes fewer random street fights or shakedowns by local gangs. But his family bears the sorrow of restrictions placed on his wife and daughters. A university student once hopeful now finds the future uncertain, with scarce jobs and isolation. Yet he no longer fears a suicide bombing on the way to prayer. A mother worries intensely that her daughters are barred from schooling beyond primary levels. At the same time, she feels quiet relief that her sons are no longer at risk of conscription or crossfire. These voices do not describe paradise. They describe contrast, a reality more complex than headlines allow. When violence happens in powerful countries, it is called an exception. When violence happens in Afghanistan, it becomes the entire story. The identity of one nation remains intact. The other is reduced to crisis. The story lingers, cited as proof of inherent instability. This disparity may not be deliberate, but it shapes public opinion. It can lead to fatalism and support for punitive policies. It obscures efforts toward peace and stability on the ground. A more fair understanding requires scrutinizing framing and assumptions. Encourage a critical, curious approach to the information we consume. Why do we accept a single narrative for some places and not for others? Why? This video is not meant to defend Afghanistan, nor to attack it. It is meant to question how reality is presented to us, because the truth is rarely black or white. According to some reports, daily security has improved for many, at an enormous cost. Independent observations suggest drug cultivation fell dramatically while trafficking adapted. This does not mean everything is perfect. It means we must hold contradictions. Read the headlines, then look deeper. Listen for voices on the ground. Check the numbers. The most dangerous lie is the one repeated often enough to feel true. Final question. What kind of understanding do we seek? The single, shocking picture, or many scenes showing change and contradiction? The responsible approach is to hold both.